Good day, everyone. We are now, our task this time is to discuss about the idea of dividing integers. So, objectives. In this particular lesson, you will learn to perform division on integers, solve problems on integers, and solve problems using PEMDAS. The keywords that you remember when we are talking about dividing integers. To divide is to evenly, cut, split, each, every, average, equal parts, out of, ratio, quotient, divided equally, quarterly, shared. These are keywords that you remember if you're talking about dividing integers. The rules in dividing integers: when two numbers with the same length, the same sign rather, are divided, the quotient is always positive. That follows dividing positive by positive is positive. Dividing negative by negative is negative. Second rule: when two numbers with different signs are divided, the quotient is always negative. That follows positive divided negative is negative. Negative divided by positive is negative. And for rule number 3, the rules for dividing 0 by a non-zero number for division by 0 still hold. That dividing 0 by a non-zero number is always equal to 0. And dividing any number by 0, that implicates to an undefined value. Now we shall discuss about the example of finding quotient. Implementing rules that to divide positive 48 by 8 is equivalent to 6. To divide negative 40 by negative 8, that is equivalent to positive 5. To divide 72 by negative 9, since they are unlike sign, the answer is negative 8. And letter D, to divide negative 49 by positive 7, the answer is, we will correct it, it is negative 7. Fill in the missing number. A number divided by negative 9, which is equal to 6, is positive 54. Then, what particular number to be divided by negative 75, which is equal to positive 5? And that is negative 15. Continue. The following examples combine divisions discussed in this lesson with multiplication, addition, and subtraction from the previous lesson. So we particularly apply the what we call order of operation. So we are controlled by the order of operation acronym PEMDAS. They give meaning to this in order for you to, it's a kind of mnemonics that you can remember directly what should be the order of operation. Just remember the sentence, please excuse me, my dear Aunt Sally. So that implicates to meaning that P stands for parentheses, E for exponent, M for multiplication, T for division, A for addition, and S for subtraction. Or we call it as PEMDAS. Okay, we will discuss the way of simplifying the expression considering the idea of the order of operation or PEMDAS. For number 1, you are required to simplify 90 minus 10 multiplied by 8 to be added by 32 and divide by 8. So our first step is to multiply the numbers. Why we directly multiply? Because there's no groupings obtained here. But silently that dividing of numbers, multiplying of numbers, that should be grouped accordingly. But here it's very clear, clearly operated with symbol. So in this case, we should have to multiply negative 10 times 8, and that is equivalent to negative 80. Negative 80. And by the way, considering the division process as we are dividing a group of numerator divided by a group of denominator, so we can consider this as a kind of grouping. So we can separate that we should have to combine first the numerator values and after that simplify with the denominator. So after multiplying, so 90 minus 80 plus 32 over 8 would now be our first simplified step. Then next, we will add the like terms, or a way of combining like terms for us to trim down the process into a simplified form. So all the positive values of the numerator will be added, so with the negative values. So we are adding 90 plus 32. So with a total of 122 be subtracted by 80 over 8. Okay. So it seems that we are writing about you here. By the way, the difference between 122 and 80 is 42. So the final answer would be 42/8. For letter B, this is a good example of PEMDAS. Now, we will eliminate its symbols of groupings like parentheses, brackets, and braces. Of course, we will do it step by step. Now, in eliminating symbols of grouping, you should start from the inner portion so that you will not be lost. Then one at a time, simplify it with the rest, and a way of eliminating symbols of grouping. Simplify it accordingly. So as we observe here, we try to look the group here of braces as subgroups of brackets and parentheses, while the multiplier here is also grouped by parentheses. In this case, the inner group is a group of parentheses. We will simplify it first. That to eliminate the symbol is just to add 2 -3, so that the difference is the unlike sign is -1. So with this 7 -8, the difference is also -1. Since it's already simplified form, it's the right time for us to eliminate the symbols of parentheses. Now, how to eliminate? Since this number is preceded by a multiplicand 4, meaning to say that you are required to multiply -1 times 4 to eliminate the symbol of parentheses. So, -1 times 4 is -4. But before that, since -4 precedes a positive sign, so we should have to settle it later. You can remain the symbol of parentheses. So here, okay, so difference is -1, we copy it. Then on the fourth step, and the third step rather, is now process of eliminating the symbols of parentheses. So the statement now turned out that a subgroup of brackets, which is exactly the difference between -2 minus 4. So we already eliminate the symbol of parentheses, so that what is inside now is the symbol of brackets. So with -1, we eliminate the symbol. And after that, we should have to find the differences. Unlike sign, 2 and -4 is unlike sign. So their difference is equivalent to not -4 but -2. We'll put it -2. So that multiplying, so again, the symbol of brackets preceded by a multiplier 5, meaning to say you will multiply -2 times 5. So it's not 20 but -10. So to eliminate the symbol of braces, of course, you will multiply this time -10 by -1. So that the final answer is +10. For letter C, again we are dealing with symbols of groupings. So I think the inner terms here, groupings here are symbol of parentheses. These 3 to the power of 2. So we already consider that this time the idea of exponent. We can simplify this first. Symbols of parentheses. So our first step, of course, we will multiply 3 2 times by itself, and that is equivalent to 9. And in these subgroups again, to eliminate the symbol of parentheses, we will add 4 by 2. Since this group precedes a negative sign, so it now becomes negative 6. And of course, it is subject to be divided by 3 plus 11 plus 2 is 13. Now, we can eliminate the symbol of braces. So with parentheses. Okay. So we will find the difference between negative 6 and 5. That is negative 1, which later to be multiplied first by 9. And after that, we will divide it by 3. It's division. Okay. So that we change this into quotient form. This would be here. So we will put this time, since we are required to divide negative 9 by positive 3. So in quotient form or in fractional form, this would be our negative 9. Numerator is our negative 9 divided by positive 3. So at this point, it's very clear that we are turning the process of dividing numbers in horizontal position to vertical. Okay, it's simply a division of negative 9 over 3. So negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. Okay? So we can eliminate the symbol here already. Negative 3. Simplified as divided by to be added by 13. The final answer would be positive 10. So it's very clear that we are doing here step by step of all the examples, considering the idea of order of operation. That is through PEMDAS. So let's continue. In our fourth example, it's a worded problem. Tom played golf at an amusement park. His scores on the first 5 holes were negative 1, 1, negative 2, negative 1, and negative 2 in that order, that series. Now, our task here is to find the mean average score of these holes. So in this case, we should take also into consideration its sign of numbers. But generally, we are required to in finding the average, we need to add all the data we have or scores we have, then divide it by the total number of holes, and that is 5 holes. So simply, negative 1 is to be added by positive 1, to be added by negative 2, to be added by negative 1, and also to be added by negative 2, and all over 5. We must have to simplify it accordingly. Now, considering its sign, make it clear that we should have to simplify it first. Now, negative 1, you copy that. That's your simplified value. Positive, so with positive 1. And then, that negative 2 precedes a positive sign. Because we're talking about addition here. So with negative 1 precedes also positive sign and also negative 2. So we need a way of simplifying the operation, considering that we are dealing here with unlike sign. There's a need for you to multiply. To multiply negative 2 times a positive sign, that becomes a negative 2. So with negative 1 times positive sign, negative 1. Negative 2 times the positive sign is negative 2. Then after that, try to simplify it by combining like terms or like signs. So, negative 1 plus negative 2 plus negative 1 plus negative 2, we have total of negative 6. And that is to be simplified also by a positive sign 1. There, unlike sign, since, so we need to find its difference. And the difference, by the way, is negative 5. Then the denominator or the number of holes as denominator is 5 also. So our final answer is negative 1. So to answer the question, the mean average score of these holes is negative 1. Clearly also, we were able to simplify it step by step to end up with the result. Okay? Your task to perform all these try it activity, and that is to be passed on next meeting. So with the assignment, by the way, assignment is in the form of problem solving. This will serve as our follow-up recap discussion before we will open a new topic by next episode. So much for this audiovisual presentation. This is your teacher, Mr. Cedric A. Borres. Thank you. 9 degrees, negative 210 degrees Celsius, positive 181 degrees Celsius, and 113 degrees Celsius respectively. So you are required to find, in letter A, the difference between the melting point of lithium and the melting point of nitrogen. So the melting point of lithium is equivalent to 181 degrees. That is to be subtracted by negative 210 degrees Celsius. So it turned out the statement now becomes 181 degrees Celsius minus or plus 210 degrees Celsius. Again, there's a correction here. By distributing negative sign to the minus side, it becomes positive 210 degrees Celsius, which will be redirected, directly added by 181. So instead of 19 degrees, Will you please correct it? The sum of 210 plus 181, so we have 391 degrees Celsius is the answer. For letter B, we are required to find the difference between the melting point of mercury and the melting point of nitrogen. So, for mercury, we have negative 39 degrees Celsius to be subtracted by the melting point of the nitrogen is equal to negative 210 degrees Celsius. So that finalizing our statement, we have negative 39 degrees Celsius plus 210 degrees Celsius. Finding the difference between 210 by 39, final answer is positive 171 degrees Celsius. Letter C. Find the difference between melting point of lithium and melting point of a mercury. So 181 degrees Celsius to be subtracted by negative 39 degrees Celsius. So negative times a minus sign, so it becomes a positive 39 degrees Celsius to be added by 181 degrees Celsius. Final answer is 220 degrees Celsius. Okay, perform the try-it activity. I think that will be all. This is your teacher, Mr. Cedric A. Borres. Thank you and good day again.